the Luton Quarterly Update. I'm Chris Ryan and we're joined today by Susie Lorenz, the Chief Operating Officer of Luton, Nick Payne, a Director of Luton, and Bill O'Neill from Bond Projects. We're here in the beautiful Avola Hotel in the Mosaic Room. We're really glad to have you with us. Suze, what have Luton Properties been up to lately? Tell me a bit about what the Kickstart Breakfast is about, and that's how you start your year.
Yeah, so we, the whole team gets together. We have breakfast, and we have, well, actually it's Josh Fegan that we've had for the last few years, who's a real estate trainer.
It's just a good opportunity, Chris, for us to all get together as a group because we are such a large organisation. It's good just to get everyone in the same place, start the year off right, everyone's back from holidays and whatnot, so we can just get ready to sort of attack the year ahead, but then also get into the really specific things about what to do around, say, an auction or what to do with a house that's been on the market for a bit too long and those sort of things, because we're so varied in our team. We have guys that have been doing it for 25 years and we've got guys that have been doing it for 2 months. So we need to try and have something that appeals to everyone and they can get a little bit out of it. So that's the real benefit of that sort of Kickstart Breakfast, I think.
Chris, you might remember, we were a sponsor of the Comedy Festival.
Canberra Festival. You were,
yeah.
And a brilliant, you were very enthusiastic participant in the Canberra Comedy Festival.
Yeah,
so you
something different for us, yeah, something very different for us, and I guess some people may have wondered what the link was there. Luton's mission is to return the human element back into real estate sales, so I thought what better way to do that than laughter.
Yeah. So how did Luton enjoy the Canberra Comedy Festival as a sponsor? Is it a good way to connect with the community?
It has been very successful. I was actually just talking to our marketing manager about it last week and it's been quite successful.
You got to give that sort of stuff and support that sort of stuff without expecting anything back, and I think that's what we did. We went with no expectation, just to kind of support and help the community a little bit. I hope we do more of that stuff. You
guys went go-boating, didn't you?
Yes. We did, yeah.
It was to celebrate Richard's 25 years in real estate. So the very generous man that he is, he took the whole team, all 180 odd of us.
Yeah, and it ended up being 140.
140 came, which is a huge effort, and you know we had to break it up across 3 sessions because there's just not enough boats.
Yeah, it's because we had to all fit into 8 boats.
Yeah, we all just piled on each other. No, it was, it was fantastic, and I think it was a really good way to sort of celebrate, you know, an achievement like that. And he's changed the landscape. You guys would agree. I think of Canberra real estate, and you know, I'm very thankful Susie is, and you know, to be able to go and celebrate that with him, I think was really cool.
So, in the first quarter of Luton's work this year, Nick, how have the sales been going?
They've been going really well. Canberra at the start of the year is generally pretty slow. A lot of people go on holidays and come back, so the year doesn't really get kicking off until the end of January, start of February. But we've had some great results, and I think in the first quarter, again, the median price in Canberra's grown by 3.3%. So again, we're outperforming the other capital cities in Australia. So that's a good thing, especially the north side of Canberra. I think on year, there's Belconnen and Gungahlin have grown by over 10% in price. So that's
a little bit biased. He's from
Gungahlin. This is
I'm really feeling maligned as a South Sider. Bill, you run Bond Projects. What would people know about town that you might have developed?
A few of the developments that I've been involved with of note would be the Watermark development in Greenway, which is right on the edge of Lake Tuggeranong in the South Key Waters estate that the LDA put together, now the Suburban Land Agency, and that was 95 townhouses and apartments. More recently, and a development that the guys at Luton are looking after me is the Reserve, and that's in Moncrief, and that's 57 townhouses, and that's a joint venture between myself and Entalia Constructions. And there's a couple that are coming up fairly soon, but they're still in planning, but there's a few coming up in the inner north as well, such as Dixon and Turner as well.
And what should people look for in a good development? Like, I mean, if I was to buy into you know, a development, I don't know what to look for. So, you know, I think about things like, I look at, do they have a pool? Is that a good thing for me or a bad thing? Is there a gym?
When somebody buys an investment property, they've got different goals. And I think if you're looking for growth at the moment, you might be looking at townhouses where you might take a little bit of a sacrifice on your rent. But if you're looking to have a pretty similar mortgage to rent ratio, then you might be looking at a townhouse where the rents seem to be a little bit higher and the property price is a bit lower.
So I'm interested in what makes a good agent. I don't know. I just know who I like and who I don't. But as professionals, what do you think makes a good agent?
I think that persona of the slick car and the slick hair and all that sort of stuff is gone. It's no hair. That period is gone, and I think the best thing that's happened is that there is so much information out there, especially in Canberra, that we're not the gatekeepers of all this stuff anymore. So you can go in and have really real conversations. That's why real people do well, and there's no one specific thing about a person that makes them a great agent. It's more so just the realness of that person. It's a people thing. So if you're a good person, then people are going to generally like you. But if you can then also add the layers of, you know how to negotiate, you know how to communicate really well, you know how to deal with certain objections to things, then that's what makes a good agent.
I'd agree with that. That trust, the relationship, the professionalism. You guys have got to work to get the business. There's the property there, and then there's the negotiating after that. So there's three pretty major elements in there, I think. So it's one thing to have that relationship, and then you've got the property to sell, and then you've got to work with a multitude of people and actually negotiate that deal through to a successful sale.
Yeah.
We need to have the buyer looked after. It's a pretty big thing, especially the best case is a first home buyer, and I know we've all been there as first home buyers. It's such a nerve-wracking, exciting thing that if you feel like you're neglected a little bit by the real estate agent or they're not trying to help you, it can turn you off that process, and in some cases they'll just turn around and leave and won't buy the house. So it's about nurturing them through that process. They've finally got over the hump of making the decision that they're going to buy the house. It's gone off to their solicitors. You need to help them with their finance and signing things and what to do, and really just help and not hide anything from them, because that can bring up issues as well.
We're talking about the skill of the agent, and we talk about it just being the market, but I think it can just be the market. You've got still got to cast that net wide enough within your own contacts, your own database, your marketing on websites, on print, to actually draw that in and then use your skills to get them there on auction day if it's an auction.
Absolutely.
With contracts issued so that they are ready on the day to make that purchase. If you've only got one person on the day, an auction doesn't work. You need that competitive bidding where there's two or more. So, and I think that really rests pretty heavily on the agent.
So if I were to sell, and I'm not, but if I were, what can I do to make my property more valuable?
There's probably, that's a really good question, Chris. I think a lot of people want to know if there's a magic bullet there to add $50,000 value to the house, but I don't necessarily think it's just one thing. It's got to be an overall feel of the house. So generally, as part of our service, or at least my own service, going through a house and making those suggestions. Now, not everyone can do everything. So again, like we were talking about with the advertising, we need to pick the things that are going to have the best return on investment. So one thing I think that's really overlooked is street frontage and street appeal. That's a job that's just hard work. Get on your hands and knees and elbow grease, pulling out weeds and painting the front. I think that's one thing that gets overlooked a lot, especially when inside is where a lot of the photos are for ads. Yeah. But when you turn up to a property, the first thing you see is the front of the house, and if that doesn't quite match what you've seen on photos, then it's almost a turn off straight away. So that's probably the most overlooked aspect, if you like, because inside, coat of paint, new carpet, the stuff that most people would think about, that's a fairly common thing to add value to a house. We've
just created a video which is on our Facebook page about how to prepare your home for market. So it's jump on there and take a look, because
That's the house side of things. Bill, is there anything particular from a development aspect, is what things can be done there to add value?
I guess on completion, when you're looking at then selling it yourself through an agent, I think, and I haven't sold too many in this position, but I do know from others that decluttering your house makes a big difference. So I think sometimes just filling a shipping container full of your gear, which is going to be packed to the next house anyway, is probably not a bad way to do it.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, just that tidy up of the garden, freshening up of the mulch, and I think that beyond that, for a townhouse site, if you're involved in the owners corporation and you're helping maintain those grounds and making sure that the strata is the right team and the appropriate team for you, then that's probably on a minor sense. But I think overall for your development, for the landscaping and the upkeep and the, ensuring that the lights in the common areas are always on and they're carpeted, they're clean and so forth, that makes a big difference as well.
So what's happening for the next part of the year? You've got some big things coming up. What's happening with Luton for the next quarter?
So our flagship event, the Luton Charity Ball, is coming up on the 4th of August. It's going to be at the AIS Arena this year, which is a little bit different for us. It'll be new, exciting. We were very excited to announce late last year that we're going to continue on with Homes of Hope, which is by supporting Carinya House, Hartley Life Care and the Project Independence. So these three charities have got quite contrast in services. However, the thing that attracted us, Luton, to these three charities is that they all provide homes to some very special people in our community. Something that's really important to us is that we are aware of where the money is being spent. So I've got some fantastic examples of that. Carinya House, the money that we've donated to them has gone to, well, it actually provides for one caseworker for a full year. And so without that money, they would have had to cut back on those services. Hartley Life Care have now got enough money to start building their respite facility. Project Independence, if you don't know about this charity, please look them up. It's absolutely awesome what they've done. It's actually run by Glenn Keys and there are other partners. His son actually lives in one of the facilities.
How does it feel as Luton's Chief Operating Officer to know that your business has helped these?
It's great. It's just nice that we are actually in the position to be able to do this. So we're very privileged to be able to do this for these charities each year. We've also got a charity trail, which is I guess that's the best name for it. We've actually pledged to the charities that we've supported in the previous years that we will donate $10,000 to them each year. I guess we'll do that whenever we can, whenever we continue doing the Luton Charity Ball. So we give $10,000 to SIDS and Kids. We give $10,000 to the Canberra Hospital Foundation. There's $10,000 going to Men's Link every year. And then in addition, the three charities that we've chosen again this year.
Wow. So the ball's coming up at the AIS. How do people find out about that?
It's our Luton Charity Ball Facebook page. So we've got the Luton Properties page. In addition, we've got the Luton Charity Ball Facebook page. And updates will be put on that regularly.
Great. Bill, what have you got coming up in the next part of the year?
It hasn't sort of been spoken about too much, but we've actually had two of the buyers from the reserve in Moncrief want to rescind from their contracts. So it was a sellout, and we've actually got two coming up pretty soon. So we'll be working with the guys on starting to market those. They're not on all homes or really out there in the market with them yet, but that'll be in the coming weeks. A new site which Josh and Sam from Team Morrissey are helping me with in Dixon will be it's just a small boutique development of 3 townhouses, all on grade with no basement, just car parking underneath on the ground floor. And there's some other couple of sites coming up in the inner north as well, hopefully in Lyneham and Turner as well.
And what about you, Nick, in sales in the next quarter? What are your sort of plans?
We have, so I work in Casey, in Gungahlin predominantly, and we've had a bit of an initiative this year of just trying to do something once a month to give back to that community. So sales-wise, we have our targets and what we're trying to do, and that's great, but the important stuff that I'm trying to bring back is more community involvement, really. So at the start of the year, we had a coffee day. I really just sat out the front of a coffee shop and just bought 100 people coffees. Doing things like that. We just had a giveaway for 2 nights at Lake Krakenback, which was a pretty big one. But we'll do something else down near the Casey Market town and just continue to give back, so to speak, because we get supported really well by that community. That's where I live. So that human element, just showing people that we do appreciate all the stuff that we get given, and we're in a pretty fortunate position. We take people's lives really and their financial lives into our hands, and we get to look after them that way. So there's anything we can give back, then we try to. So that's what's coming in the next couple of months. More giveaways, more community involvement.
So thank you very much to Nick from Luton Gungahlin, to Bill from Bond Projects and Susie from Luton in Monica. It was really great to chat to you and hear these things. Thanks also for watching, and if you have any comments or questions, please comment below. Also, if you want to talk about any other matters relating to property, by all means get in touch. Thanks very much for watching.